Okay, I think we're live here. Alrighty. So, had some technical difficulties today, but we are now live. Normally start at noon. Thought Shifting Thursdays. So, I'm going to share with you the most powerful meditation technique that I know. I've learned it 3 times in my life from different sources. So it was obviously important for me to get. Very few people that I meet in meditation communities know about this particular meditation. I'll give you a little bit of a background. It was developed in the 1950s. Viola Neal was one of the scientists that developed it. And basically, it creates a balance between the 3 primary transpersonal qualities within us. And I could give you a lot. Maybe I'll give you some more backstory before we actually, or at the end of doing the meditation. But just to say this, that I believe that I would not have accomplished 10% of what I've accomplished in my life if not for doing this meditation. Why I'm excited about talking about it is because I don't usually share much about this because it requires a 9-month commitment, 15 minutes a day. And these days, I just don't find that there's very many people willing to make a commitment like that, so I hardly ever bring it up. But maybe one of you, if one person does it, then it's worth my time to offer this to the world. So basically, it's meditating on three symbols that represent 3 transpersonal qualities. Circle with a dot. I'm going to show you this rather sketchy guide I created here. Here's a circle with a dot, which represents divine will. Then there's a plus sign, or see if I go closer, you can see just the plus. That is divine love, wisdom. And then the triangle, which is divine creative action, which is the ability to manifest things in the world of form. So I will just guide you through this. It's 3 minutes each for each. Did I say 15 minutes? There's 2 different versions of this, a 15-minute version and a 9-minute version. I'm going to give you the 9-minute version. And so you can do it 9 minutes a day for 9 months. That is proven to be successful. If you don't do it for 9 months, by the way, and in the original presentation, if you missed a day, you'd have to start over. In the more modern version, if you miss a day, you got to add a day on at the end, but you can't do it like once a week and just keep adding. It's got to be consistent. So I'd say no less than 6 days a week, and if you miss a day, then you add one more day on the end to make it 9 months. What happens is when you, again, I'll give you more information on it once we complete the meditation. So, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just visualize the level of your third eye, circle with a dot, representing divine will. And just imagine, as you are visualizing the circle with a dot, that divine will is being radiated into your being through your third eye, right at the center of the forehead, slightly above the brows, holding this symbol present. One way that tip that I find is helpful is imagine that there is a cutout. And I'll put the symbol if you want to open your eyes up again and look at it. A cutout in a dark background, a dark material. And through it is shining, a cutout with a circle with a dot. And through it is shining the most brilliant white light you can imagine. Again, one into your third eye, illuminating your entire being. So imagine that rather than you holding the symbol in place, divine will is holding you in place. Transpersonal quality of divine will. And if you find your thoughts wavering, just recognize that. As I do in meditation, invite the thoughts in. I assume that any thought that comes into play while I'm meditating is coming in because it wants to receive divine will in this case as well. No resistance, just invite it in to meditate with you. Focus on the circle with the dot. And now allow the circle with the dot to fade, and in its place emerges an equal arm cross or a plus sign representing divine love wisdom. Once again, you can imagine that there's a cutout in a dark material, and shining through it is the most brilliant white light streaming into your third eye, fusing your being with divine love wisdom. Another hint is to make this effortless. Imagine that divine love wisdom is meditating you, is wanting to infuse your being with this transpersonal quality. And all you have to do is be receptive to it. See if you can match the intention of divine love wisdom to illuminate you with your willingness to receive. You might also use any other practices that help you to stay centered in meditation. I like to use just an ongoing, it's like an inner mantra, but it's a tone. Just the sound of like an ah sound, an extended ah sound, sung in the voices of angels. Receiving divine love wisdom through this equal arm cross. Allow the equal arm cross to fade, and in its place emerges an equilateral triangle representing divine creative action, the ability to manifest in the world of form. Holding it steady right in front of your third eye. And imagine a cutout with in a dark material, and through it is shining, through this symbol of the triangle, shining the most brilliant white light ever, streaming into your being, illuminating your being through your third eye. Like everything in life and everything in meditation, expect it to be easy. Rather than trying to hold this symbol in place, just allow it. Just allow it to be there. Allow yourself to be present and receptive to this transpersonal energy, divine, creative action. That's nice. That's 9 minutes. Now just take a moment to reflect on how does your life look moving forward with a balance of will, love, and creative action, the ability to manifest in the world. You can then open your eyes or continue to meditate as I speak a little bit about this process, or you can open your eyes. And so these three transpersonal, everyone has a degree of these three qualities within them: will, love, creative action. But usually they're not balanced. So a person might have more will. So people who are drawn to careers in the military or leadership in some form or another often have a lot of the will energy, right? People who are have a lot of love, wisdom energy tend to find themselves drawn to careers like teachers, healers, in the healing profession. And that could be traditional healing or non-traditional. People who have a lot of creative action are salespeople, people that are really good at sales, people who are good at manifesting things, at making things happen, right? If you're in a group of people and you're all brainstorming what to do, the person with a lot of creative action, or third personality type as we call it in psychosynthesis, transpersonal psychology, will say, let's stop talking about it and go do it. Let's put it in action, right? You might find if you had more difficulty in visualizing one of these symbols, then that would be the quality that you most need to develop. So most people that watch my videos, most people that come to my classes, or lectures, or do coaching with me have a lot of love, wisdom, energy. They're people who are drawn to spiritual practice, right? So you may find it more difficult to visualize symbol, the circle with a dot, or maybe even the triangle, right? But by visualizing these symbols for a period, an extended period of time. 9 months is considered the minimum. What may happen between now and 9 months is eventually you arrive at a point of balance, when there's a balance between will, love, wisdom, and creative action. And people who are considered genius have a balance and a high degree of these transpersonal qualities. As I said at the beginning, I fully believe that I would not have accomplished 10% of what I've accomplished in my life if not for doing this 3 times 9 months or more in my life. When I when I wrote and published The Magic of the Soul, I started doing it for the last time for 3 minutes for 9 months. And I've continued to do it. I don't do it for 3 minutes each day, but it's still I just take one breath and visualize one deep breath, visualize a circle with a dot, from the inhalation to the exhalation. Same thing with the plus sign. Same thing with the triangle. And so very few of my students or clients have ever completed this process, but those that have just become super actualized. What I started to say is people who are considered genius have a high level, high functioning of these 3 qualities and a balance. So, Einstein, for example, had a high degree of will. Well, let's start with the creative action. A high degree of creative action, high degree of creativity, obviously, to be able to create the formulas that he created, equals EMC squared. Now, if he didn't have a high degree of will, he would not have had the intentionality to actually create, a system out of that and offer it to the world. And if he didn't have a high degree of love wisdom, he wouldn't have offered it with a beneficent intention. If not for this formula, the atomic bomb would have not been creative. So some people with a high level of will took this formula and said, look, we can use this to destroy things, or to frighten people, or to kill people, right? So those people did not, I suggest, did not have a high functioning level of love wisdom, right? Otherwise they would have put it to other uses. And it has been put to other uses, obviously. So, what in your life are you striving for that a balance of these 3 transpersonal qualities would guarantee? I guarantee you, if you do this for 9 months, it will guarantee your success. There are a lot of other ways to actualize these qualities, but some of the experiments that were done back in the 50s is they had people doing psychotherapy, one group doing psychotherapy for 9 months, one group doing, they had what do you call it, the group that did nothing, and then you have the group that did this. And of course the group that did this practice were way more actualized at the end of 9 months, way more balanced in these qualities, and even way more than the group that did psychotherapy. And there are a few other self-growth methods that were done with different groups in these experiments. But the people who simply did this visualization were the highest level of actualization and fulfillment. So, want to give it a try? I would love for you to check in with me and let me know how this is working for you. 3 months in, 6 months in, 9 months in. All right, have fun with it, and we'll see you next week. Love to you all.